Throughout the book, capitalism is portrayed as a negative economic system through the Jodes family's experiences.
Capitalism is defined as an economic system characterized by private or corporate ownership of capital goods, by decision and by prices, production, and the distribution of goods that are determined mainly by competition in a free market. Or, in other words, an idealistic view is you have 2 cows, you sell one and buy a bull. Your herd multiplies and the economy grows, you sell them and retire on the income. Or, a more realistic version, you have 2 cows, you sell one and force the other to produce the milk of 4 cows.
The first instance where capitalism is criticized is when the bank decides that using tractors to farm the land is more efficient than having individual families farm the land. The men that come to force the families off the land say that it isn't their decision, but it's the bank's, aka capitalism. Sorry, it's not us, it's the monster. The bank isn't like a man. Yes, but the bank is only made of men. No, you're wrong. There. Quite wrong there. The bank is something else than man. It happens that every man in a bank hates what the bank does, and yet the bank does it. The bank is something more than man, I tell you. It's the monster. Men made it, but they can't control it. People are mad at the bank and what it's doing, but they don't know who to blame.
People are trying to sell their goods so they can make enough money to make it to California, but the people there, through capitalism ideas, are trying to make their own profits to survive there. So, when they're overpricing everything, so they get as much as they can for the least amount of money. How much? $10 for both? And the wagon? Oh, Jesus Christ. I'd shoot him for dog feed first. Oh, take him. Take him quick, mister. Sure, we sold it. Guarantee? We guaranteed it to be an automobile. We didn't guarantee to wet nurse it. Once again, Steinbeck has capitalism showing its uglier side, as the automobile dealers are cheating the farmers in their purchases just so they can make a few extra dollars.
Capitalism is also portrayed as a negative economic system when it is explained how the landowners in California say they will pay one wage and then lower it without informing the workers. Then when the workers go on strike, they just hire new workers at a higher wage until the striking workers leave. The wise man said, "We struck. This here's a strike." "Well, 5 cents a box ain't much, but a fella can eat." "5 cents?" the wise man cried. 5 cents? They paying you 5 cents? Sure, we made $1.50. A heavy silence fell in the tent. Casey stared out the entrance into the dark night. "Looky, Tom," he said at last. "We come to work there. They says it's going to be 5 cents. They was a hell of a lot of us. We got there, and they says they're paying 2.5 cents. A fella can't even eat on that, and if he got kids? So we says we won't take it, so they drove us off. And all the cops in the world come down on us. Now they paying you 5. When they bust this here strike, you think they'll pay 5? As you can see, the owners would much rather pay many people a low wage in order to get more work for their money than pay a fair wage to those workers that they can afford to pay. This is a critique on capitalism because these workers cannot make enough money to feed their families. Therefore, capitalism is bad because it causes people to starve.
The works of the roots of the vines and of the tress must be destroyed to keep up the price, and this is the saddest, bitterest thing of all. Carloads of oranges dumped on the ground. The people came for miles to take the fruit, but this could not be. How would they buy oranges at 20 cents a dozen if they could drive and pick them up? And men with hoses squirt kerosene on the oranges, and they are angry at the crime, angry at the people who have come to take the fruit. 1 million people hungry, needing fruit, and kerosene sprayed over the golden mountains. And children dying of pellagra must die because a profit cannot be taken from an orange. And coroners must fill in the certificates, died of malnutrition, because the food must rot, must be forced to rot. According to Steinbeck, capitalism is a bad thing because it leaves people hungry and feeling cheated with their money.